The first step in the process is to mill our grain. It's extremely important to make sure the grain mill is set correctly, because if it's set too far, then you'll end up with mash that's too coarse and won't convert. Or if it's set too fine, the mash will be too fine and the water won't go through it. You'll end up with what's called a stuck mash. I play around with using feelers and things like that. What I've always found is a standard credit card works well. So I just push it in there, make sure it goes around. Credit card goes too fine. Also make sure always that the mill is going inward. So now we'll add our grain. And we can begin grinding. If you don't have a grain mill, don't feel the need to go out and buy one. Your local homebrew supply store will do this for you. What I like to do between adding batches of grain is I like to throw a couple hands of rice hulls in here. The reason why is because if I did mill my grain too fine, this will make sure that my mash doesn't get too stuck. Rice hulls are cheap. They have no physical properties in the end of the beer. So just add a couple handfuls, and then add the rest of my grain. As you can see now, this grain is milled pretty well. There's a little bit of flour into it, but not much. And this should be ready for the mash.
Now that our grain is milled, we can begin the mashing process. Mashing is nothing more than converting the starches that are in the grain to sugars. This is a naturally occurring phenomenon. If you put a piece of bread in your mouth, it'll first taste starchy, then taste sweet. The same applies to grain. We apply heat at different points, and it converts the starches to sugars. We'll go ahead and add just under 4¼ gallons of water to this batch. I have this filter that I bought from my local homebrew supply store. We'll fill this up, and then they'll go to the next step.
Now that our target temperature is reached, we can go ahead and begin the mash-in. Doughing in is very easy. Take a mash spoon, and then just go ahead and add your grain. And if you're doing this by yourself, what I do is I add about 1/4 of it at a time, and then stir it. That's about right. Now when you're stirring it, it's going to start to look like oatmeal. And you don't have to really stir it real well. You just want to make sure you don't have any dough balls in it. The moral to this story is keep your balls out of the mash. So, stir that. I'll add some more. And then we'll probably do one more addition. This mash smells really good. And as this heats up, your whole house is going to start smelling really good. It has so almost a corn-like smell to it. Now, hold on to it so my green feather doesn't go anywhere. And then just stir, stir, stir. And like I said, it doesn't have to be completely perfect, but you just want to make sure that you don't have any dry lumps in it. Now that that's mashed out, we can go ahead and begin the long process of doing our mash. Now that our mash is complete, we can go through the process of start to spurge our grains. Sparging is nothing more than the process of washing off the residual sugars that have been generated by the mash. So we'll pull our bucket up. For grandfather users, it's very important to note, always make sure that your basket is on the wires on the side directly. If not, it'll fall off, and then you'll have to call customer service and say that your unit's broken even though it's not. Now if we look in here, you can hear the water coming off. What we'll start doing is I have a tank that I filled full of water, and we'll just start adding one liter at a time. At 78 degrees Celsius. This batch requires 13 liters of water, so that's 2. And that should do us. And we're going to let this drain until we just hear drops coming out of it. Just very small drops, just a few per second. And then we'll pull it off and cool this off and throw this grain out. Or you can reuse the grain for making dog food. There's a lot of different things you can do, or dog treats. There's a bunch of different things you can do with it. I think that should be about right. Shake off excess. Just got a little more coming out. Just leave it for a second. At this point now we can start to boil. It's important to note that when we start getting close to a boil, you really need to pay attention, especially using these dextrine type malts. What you'll notice is that there's this foam on top of it. That foam's going to form a layer. And what will happen is it'll boil over on you if you reach boiling and you don't break it. So you really need to pay attention when you start getting close to boiling, or you'll have an overflow, which is a huge mess. So we've reached boil, and you can see the foam on top of it now. So what we'll do is we'll take our mash spoon, or paddle, or whatever the hell they call it, and we're just going to break this. From this point, once you see clear mash underneath, or clear board underneath, you won't have to worry about it. Now we'll add our first hop addition, ounce and a half of Czech Pilsner. Just pour that right in there. Set our boil timer, and then we'll check it in a half an hour. Starting to really smell good in the house now.
We've added the counterflow chiller now to the grandfather unit, and we're pumping the beer through without any water going through the line shed. The logic behind this is we're sanitizing the counterflow chiller unit. It's important to do this while the wort is hot, because anything above 140 is considered sanitary. At this point, anything that touches the beer after it cools down will have to be sanitized, or you risk infection. We're going to let this run for a couple minutes and then turn the water on and start cooling it. So the beer is reading at 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a good pitch temp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my line, and I'm going to put it into the sanitized fermenter, and And I'm just going to let the beer transfer. Now the beer is flowing. We'll let the fermenter fill up, and then we'll go ahead and pitch the yeast. So wort is now transferred. I'll take the pump line out, put it back in there just so it doesn't drip all over the place. I'll take my oxygen wand, stick it in there, oxygenate the wort. We're only going to do this for a minute. The wort's not oxygenated. We'll pull out the wand. We'll stick it back into our sanitized bucket. We'll come over here. Grab our starter yeast. The starter's been going for 2 days. I use a proper starter. Pour it in there very carefully so I don't dump my stir bar. Now I seal the lid. Put the ring on it. Tighten the ring down. And there she blows. Add a pressure relief valve to it. Make sure you're adding it to the side that doesn't have your pressure transfer kit on it if you have it. And this pressure relief valve is completely open. So what I'm going to do is just tighten it down just slightly. What I'm going to do is not add pressure to this and let the natural pressure from the yeast pressure ferment it. And then what I'll do is baby it over the next couple days. So the next step is fermentation, and on to that.